For over 1,000 years, one institution has stood as the immovable anchor of British identity. Through world wars, imperial collapse, and sweeping social revolutions, the British monarchy survived. It adapted, hid behind tradition, and maintained its golden illusion of eternity. But beneath the glittering surface of Buckingham Palace, the ancient foundations are beginning to crack. In the modern era, a heavy, uncomfortable question is echoing through the rainy streets of London, a question that was once considered treason to even whisper. Is the United Kingdom finally preparing to abandon the royal family? Is the curtain coming down on the world's most famous monarchy? To understand the sudden vulnerability of the crown, we must look at the devastating loss of its greatest shield. For 70 years, Queen Elizabeth II was the ultimate glue holding a fractured nation together. She was not just a ruler, she was a living monument, a symbol of stability that transcended politics. Her immense personal popularity silenced the critics and kept the Republican movement at bay. But when her long reign ended, the golden shield vanished. Today, King Charles III sits upon a throne that feels remarkably heavier and far more fragile. Without the deeply ingrained mystique of the late Queen, the British public is suddenly looking at the crown, not with blind reverence, but with a cold, analytical eye. The primary battlefield for the future of the monarchy is economic reality. In an era marked by brutal cost-of-living crises, sky-high inflation, and collapsing public services across the United Kingdom, the sheer expense of the royal family has become a flashpoint of public anger. Critics point to the millions spent on lavish royal coronations, the massive costs of security for minor royals, and the vast tax-exempt properties held by the duchies of Lancaster and Cornwall. To a generation of struggling citizens, the sight of golden carriages rolling through London feels less like a proud tradition and more like an insulting display of medieval privilege. The economic argument that the royals bring in tourism revenue is being fiercely challenged by a new wave of economists, shifting the debate from cultural pride to hard, unforgiving math. But the danger to the crown is not just financial, it is profoundly generational. Opinion polls across the United Kingdom reveal a terrifying demographic divide that threatens the very survival of the House of Windsor. While older generations remain fiercely loyal to the concept of a king, younger citizens are overwhelmingly indifferent or actively hostile to the monarchy. To Millennials and Gen Z, an institution based entirely on hereditary privilege, aristocratic bloodlines, and colonial history feels completely incompatible with modern democratic values. They do not see glamour, they see an outdated relic of inequality. As the older, loyalist generation slowly fades away, the monarchy faces a demographic ticking time bomb. If you lose the youth, you lose the future. Beyond the borders of London, the cracks in the royal empire are widening into chasms. The United Kingdom itself is fracturing, and the crown is losing its grip on the Commonwealth. Nations across the Caribbean are rapidly following the path of Barbados, actively removing the British monarch as their head of state to embrace a republican future. Even closer to home, in Scotland and a changing Northern Ireland, the crown is increasingly viewed as an English imposition rather than a unifying symbol. If Scotland eventually votes for independence, or if the Commonwealth completely dismantles its ties to London, the global prestige of the British monarchy will collapse overnight, leaving a shrunken, localized institution with no global leverage. Furthermore, the House of Windsor has become its own worst enemy, relentlessly battered by self-inflicted wounds and explosive family scandals. The internal wars, public legal battles, and constant media circuses have effectively stripped the royals of their sacred mystique. They are no longer viewed as distant, godlike figures of dignity. Instead, they have been dragged down into the mud of modern celebrity gossip. When an institution relies entirely on prestige and moral authority to justify its existence, becoming a tabloid joke is a fatal blow. The curtain of majesty has been pulled back, revealing a deeply dysfunctional family fighting for survival in a world that has outgrown them. The transition of the United Kingdom into a republic will not happen overnight. There will be no violent revolution, no sudden storming of the palace gates. Instead, it will likely be a slow, bureaucratic fading away. A quiet referendum, a strategic political restructuring, or a gradual dismantling of royal funding. The monarchy will not end with a bang, but with a whisper of economic necessity. As the grey clouds gather over the River Thames tonight, the golden ornament of the British Empire looks more isolated than ever before. The throne still stands, but for the first time in history, the ground beneath it is shifting permanently. The end of the British monarchy is no longer an impossible fantasy. It is becoming an approaching reality.